Deep Dive with David Stendhal, where we trade without ego, no emotion, no greed, and no opinion. Before we begin tonight's video blog, please read over our trading disclaimer and remember to trade smart and accept the reality that trading futures is risky. This presentation does not provide buy-sell recommendations, and our information is strictly provided for educational purposes only. As always, trade at your own risk and analysis. Hey, it's David Stendhal with tonight's Deep Dive. It is August 9th, 2018, and I'm going to take a look at natural gas tonight, the ETF being UNG. I'm looking at this because I had a customer who was asking a question about natural gas, and I thought that to help out, we'd go into a little more detail with this market. So as of right now, we have a mixed bag when it comes to just the general trend of the market. That's what this little asterisk represents. But we have still some strength to the market with the technical rating, which is still pointing to the upside. But I do believe that that's going to start to slow up a little bit and start to reverse. And I'll explain where that's coming from. The seasonal tendencies are strong here, but I'm going to go into a little more detail than usual in talking about seasonal depth, just so that you can understand what's taking place here with seasonal accuracy. But as of right now, we have the market having gotten into overbought territory and has generated this pivot high on the elastic level. Now this is just a precursor, and we know that natural gas is one of those markets that can have volatile swings, but this in accordance with some of the resistance levels that we're actually in right now, that this will probably make a little more sense. So here's that overbought territory for the elastic level, just having gotten into that particular phase. You can see that the market has rallied and done quite nicely over the last few trading days, but we're up against these resistance levels right through here. So the resistance along with the overbought territory leads me to believe that it's probably an opportunity here to unwind some of our long positions and start to hedge, and that's exactly what the system has been doing. I mentioned this pro alert that triggered here today. This is the surge high, and that is saying, hey, the market has swung too far in one particular direction. It's probably a good opportunity to unwind some of your positions, and that actually is exactly what took place. Here is the system that liquidated today. These are 45-minute bars, had a nice profit of around $2,000 or so per contract, and this has liquidated today. Now this is a 45-minute bar system. If I flip back to to our website here, what I want to show you is a couple things. One, we actually, here's that Rigel 45 that is now flat, and I'll show you that it did exit, but we have a Rigel 90-minute bar system entered on the same day. Still has a nice $2,000 profit per contract out there right now, but because the 45-minute liquidated, I think the 90-minute is probably close at hand as well. We'll just have to watch that. But the thing that did trigger, and this just hasn't updated because it takes a little while for the information to trickle down, but it definitely shows that we're short this market with a 240-minute bar system, and at the present time we have an open position loss of $18. So net, we have one system that's short, one that is long, and because of that, obviously we're hedged with the market, and we're looking for some type of new trend to start to establish itself now that we've gotten into that overbought territory. And so we want to be somewhat protective with our positions. If you ever want to see a system that exited, we just simply come to exit signals, and this will bring up a big menu type bar, and here's natural gas. And if we click on that, you'll see that today, on the 9th, we liquidated earlier this morning that one Rigel 45-minute bar system. So, and we had another liquidation yesterday. But for this particular trade, when we did liquidate, that put us in a position with that new system having triggered into a point where we're actually flat the market because we're actually hedged. Now, I talked a little bit about the seasonal tendencies to the market. Here is the accuracy to the market. In that we have the 5 years, which are in a seasonally accurate period. I want to show what's taking place here. You can see that with the 5-year charts that the market has rallied as it has been. There'll be a little bit of a base, and then there could be another surge. And you can see these peaks, these tradable opportunities. That's what makes natural gas so nice to trade. But just simply realize and look at this, that in September on through the end of the year, it's pretty darn good. If we take a look at the 10-year chart, well, it's telling us a different story in the present, where there's a trend to the downside, which goes counter to that of what the 5 years was doing. But we do have these peaks and valleys, tradable opportunities in September and beyond. If we go to the 5 year, well, we have a trend to the downside, some more tradable opportunities at the tail end of the year. The 20 year shows kind of a different story, surge and then sell off. But again, into September, we have some nice tradable ranges. The point being is that there's not a lot of consistency right now. And because of that, for the seasonal tendencies, I would wait until we get into September to start looking at tradable opportunities from that side. Until then, the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20 are giving us a different vibe, and there's not a lot of continuity between those particular outlooks, those particular time frames. And so the seasonal depth, and I did a video on this today, and so I'm going to show that where you can see that more information about this seasonal depth. But here is natural gas. It's in the lower end of the range as far as the ranking of all the different markets. And what that's telling us is that at certain times, right now being one of those times, natural gas will show seasonal tendencies, but it can be low and is not necessarily going to give us a straight out answer as to what we think the market's going to do. We get into the latter part of the year, September and beyond, well, then the seasonal tendencies seem to pick up a little bit more, and this ambiguity is no longer there. So just beware in watching the seasonal tendencies for a market that has a quote-unquote low seasonal depth. S&P and hogs and RBOB and crude oil, they have high consistency throughout the year, but anything in the lower end of things is going to have phases where it is accurate and sometimes not accurate, and natural gas is in that phase right now. And so if you're interested in learning more about the seasonal depth, what you can do is you can come to memberships, come down to Signal Insights. You'll see this big long list that I'm slowly filling in with videos, and here is something that talks about the seasonal trading process, but the one then questions seasonal depth, that will at least go into a little more detail and hopefully present a better picture rather than trying to fill it in too much with this presentation. I would encourage you to just simply watch that seasonal depth under our Signal Insights. So what does it mean for us right now when it comes to natural gas? I would say that the easy money, if you can phrase that, has been made with this little bit of a surge. The resistance levels are going to really slow things down a little bit. I think there'll be better trading opportunities in September and beyond. And until right now, I think that our systems being hedged as they are, basically because we're coming up against some of this resistance, that it's not the most friendly market to us at the present time. I would wait to see how things kind of play out here with the systems, as we will most likely liquidate our long position, and then we'll start to build out hopefully a little more of a short position depending upon how the market reacts with this overbought territory that we're in right now. So that's a pretty good overview as to what's taking place and some additional content that's up on the site. Hopefully you're able to watch some of those videos and be able to profit with natural gas in particular. Maybe not now, but starting to look into mid-September when some of those trading ranges and so some of those bullish trade ranges are really going to start to pop up. That's the time to actually be looking at natural gas for the most part. So thanks for watching, and we will take a look at another market tomorrow. Bye-bye.